Welcome back to Warhammer 40k enthusiasts. Today, we're going to theorize. We're going to theorize about life, the universe, the nature of why Kevbot is so weird, and the nature of the Indomitor's kill team from the Death Watch. I hypothesize that this unit is going to do a lot of damage, and that there's like a 0% chance that they don't go up in points in some future update. If you guys like the video, there's no harm in thunderhammering that like and subscribe button. It's free. Same thing with the Nurgle's bell. Check out the other videos, check out the other channel, leave comments. All those are things you could do. Anyway, let's just get right into this and talk about this absolutely bonkers unit. And if I get anything wrong, let me know down below. So here's what we're working with. The whole unit has the same profile. They all move 5. It's just a unit of like heavy intercessors with different stuff. Move 5, T6, 3 up save, 3 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1. For ranged weapons, we've got the Auto Boltstorm Gauntlets, which are 3 shots, strength 4 AP 0, 1 damage, twin linked, 18 inches. Bolt pistols, no one cares about those. Deathwatch Heavy Bolt Rifles, care about these. They're 30 inches, 2 shots, strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage. They have assault, they have heavy, and they have lethal hits built in. Then we have our Deathwatch Heavy Bolter, of which we can take 2 of. 36 inch range, 3 shots, strength 5, AP 2, 3 damage, baby. Assault, heavy, lethal hits, sustained 1, all built in. If we don't want those Auto Boltstorm Gauntlets, which we're going to take, we can take the Flamestorm Gauntlets, which are strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage, twin linked. It's a flamer, so it auto hits, d6 plus 1 shots at 12. We then have Fragstorm Grenade Launchers if we take the Auto Boltstorm Gauntlets. And you're going to want to do that. I didn't really explain why, but because you're not going to want to take the Flamers because you don't get the Fragstorms, and taking the Flamers means lethals or sustained hits don't matter. So we have our Fragstorm Grenade Launcher, 18-inch blast weapon, d6 shots, strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. All this hits on 3s, you already knew that. We then have Melta Rifles, 18-inch range, 1 shot, hits on 3s, strength 9, AP 4, d6 damage with Melta 2. You guys know what a Melta gun does. It shoots 18 inches. That's the only difference. So the only thing that hits on 4s is our Multi-Melta, because it's 2 shots. All Multi-Meltas except for ones on vehicles hit on 4s. Strength 9, AP 4, d6 damage, Melta 2. For melee, we have close combat weapons on everybody except for the, I'm just going to call them the aggressors, because that's what they are. Everything is strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage with 3 attacks on 3s. Or you've got the power fists, which you'll have 9 attacks with this. So they're 3 attacks piece, you got 3 dudes. Strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage, but with twin linked, so nice extra damage boost there. Then we have our abilities, we have Mission Tactics Oath of the Moment, and we have our Indomitor Doctrines. This is where things get silly. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target or makes a melee attack in a turn in which it made a charge move, improve the strength characteristic of that attack by 2. And then if a character unit from your army can be attached to heavy intercessors, it can be attached to this unit instead. I'm going to skip over the war gear options real quick and just talk about the unit composition because we're just going to do that first. Basically, what you're going to do here is you're going to take 3 of the guys with Melta Rifles, you're going to take 3 of the guys with Power Fists, and you're going to take 4 of the Kill Team Heavy Intercessors for a total of 10 models. And so what this does is it gives you 3 aggressors in the unit, it gives you 3 eradicators in the unit, and it gives you 4 of the heavy intercessors in the unit. For war gear options, one of your guys with the Melta Rifle can take a Multi-Melta, so same thing that you would be able to do with an eradicator unit. Any number of the aggressor guys can have their Flamestorm Gauntlets replaced with the Auto Boltstorm and Fragstorm, which you're going to do. And then for every 5 models in the unit, 1 model can replace its Deathwatch Heavy Bolt Rifle with a Deathwatch Heavy Bolter. That was the one that was 3 damage with sustained and lethals built in. So you're going to have 2 of those. You're going to have 2 regular guys with bolt rifles. You're going to have 3 dudes with melting gun things, and you're going to have 3 aggressors, all with +1 or all with +2 strength, and in combat. How many points is this unit of nonsense? Well, it's less than it should be. It is 270 points. And then I will note, they have grenades. So yeah, I mean, like I said, that's what's going to happen. You're going to take the 3 eradicators, the 3 aggressors, and 4 of the heavy intercessors. You're going to have the 2 Melta Rifles and a Multi-Melta. You're going to have the 3 Auto Boltstorm Gauntlets, the 3 Fragstorm Grenade Launchers, and then the heavy intercessor guys are going to have 2 of the heavy bolters and 2 of the regular bolt rifles for 270 points. And +2 strength. Like, okay. Now, I mentioned this in the Deathwatch Tactica, but it's just not enough points. 3 eradicators are 100 points. 3 aggressors are 120 points. 4 heavy intercessors would be 88 points because they're 110 for 5, so you're paying 22 points apiece. So you get a 38 point discount on those 4 like heavy intercessors that you're getting as part of this unit. Now, obviously their abilities aren't the same, but you're technically swapping out 3 abilities for 1 since these are all like different units normally. And I know that that's a factor in their cost, but come on, dude. Getting access to lethal hits and sustained hits on a unit that has +2 strength for shooting and combat, and then strats that we're going to get into in like a second, yeah, I'm okay with that swap. I think about it each one like separately. So for Eradicators, I think, okay, we lose like the Flame Storm detachment for +1 strength and assault. We lose reroll everything, but we gain +2 strength from our shooting and for our combat. And we gain sustained or lethal hits. I'm okay with that swap. For Aggressors, you know, we give up whatever detachment roll we were thinking of using, and the +1 AP that they would have on their datasheet for +2 strength on their shooting and their combat, and gaining lethal hits or sustained hits. Again, I'm fine with that swap. For our heavy intercessors, oh no, we lose +1 save against 1 damage weapons, and we lose whatever detachment rule they would. It doesn't fucking matter. We swap it out for +2 strength on their weapons with lethal hits and sustained hits, or I shouldn't say or sustained hits. That's just a directly better swap in almost any situation. And then of course we have Oath of the Moment. So now we get full rerolls on something just to make sure that it goes away. And so let's just take a look at the detachment rule itself. We have our mission tactics. First is the Fervor tactics. This gives us those sustained hits. We then have the Malleus tactics, which gives us those lethal hits, which we're never going to use on this unit. And then we also have the the Purge one. That is going to give us critical hits are precision. And so you may be thinking, okay, that's cool and all, but they only get it for 1 turn. And your hypothesis would be false, sir or ma'am, and that's because of a strat. That's because of adaptive strategy. You pick one of the tactics for 2 units, by the way, amazing. So you actually have sustained hits permanently, is really what that boils down to, especially if you have a captain attached and he's just like, oh yeah, this is free. And we'll go over some other strats and enhancements that are some other total nonsense a bit later on, but because I'm not done yet. Now we're going to add in Ignores Cover and Assault, or we're going to add in +1 AP and a +6 inch range, or we're going to add an Anti-Infantry 2+. So you're going to be either using Hellfire rounds, Kraken rounds, or Dragonfire rounds. And we're going to definitely put a Gravis Captain in there for an extra few shots at flat 3 damage as well. So this is what we end up with here when we use our Dragonfire rounds. Full rerolls to hit, sustained hits, Assault, Ignores Cover, 9 attacks at Strength 6, AP 0, Damage 1 with Twin Linked. 11 to like 23 attacks, depending on whether or not the targets are blastable and how many guys are in the unit, but all at Strength 6, AP 0, Damage 1. So just kind of adding to that. Then we have 4 attacks at Strength 11, AP 4, Damage D6 plus 2 if you're within Melta range. 6 attacks at Strength 7, AP 2, Damage 3, with sustained hits and lethal hits baked in. 4 attacks at Strength 7, AP 2, Damage 2 with lethals built in. 2 more attacks at Strength 7, AP 2, Damage 3 from the Captain. And again, these all have Ignores Cover. If we use Kraken rounds, this is what we're looking at, which is basically the same thing. I mean, it's full rerolls with sustained, +6 inch range instead of Assault. So 9 attacks at Strength 6, AP 1, Damage 1 with Twin Linked. 11 to 23 attacks depending on your blast targets at Strength 6, AP 1, Damage 1. 4 attacks at Strength 11, AP 5, Damage D6 plus 2. 6 attacks at Strength 7, AP 3, Damage 3 with sustained and lethals built in. 4 attacks at Strength 7, AP 3, Damage 2 with lethals built in. And then 2 more attacks at Strength 7, AP 2, Damage 3. And I think I might have misspoke on the Dragonfire rounds. The Captain's Bolter thing is only AP1 base. So it would be AP1 with Ignores Cover, not an AP2. I think I said AP2 there. This one, with the Kraken rounds, is AP2. Now, because Ignores Cover basically serves as +1 AP, they will end up doing about the same amount of damage unless you're shooting something right in front of you, and then, obviously, in that case, having more AP is better than Ignores Cover. Now, if we do decide to give them sustained hits, this is the kind of damage that we're looking at. If we're looking at a Land Raider in cover with Armor of Contempt, you do about 11 damage to it with your guns. If you then charge it, you do another 7, you do a total of 18. If you're shooting a Land Raider with no Armor of Contempt, because it might not be as automatic as it used to be, you're looking at 15 damage. If you charge it, you're looking at another 9 or 10, total of 24. And whether or not the Land Raider had Armor of Contempt, if you're within charge range, that Land Raider is going away. If you're shooting at a Leman Russ, your weapons will just straight up do 18.5 damage to it. If you decide to charge it, you'll do another 14, and you'll total out at 32. If you're going after a Knight, you're doing about 18 damage to it with your guns. You're doing about another 13 damage to it in combat, and you're doing 30 damage to an Imperial Knight. Now, I'm not including its Feel No Pain, so, you know, it'll take 25 wounds at that point, but it only has 22, and so that's a dead Knight. By the way, Knights cost more than 270 points. Hell, Knights cost more than 350 points, which is how much this costs with a character attached. If we're going after Terminators, dude, it destroys like an entire unit. It kills 5 of them in the shooting phase, and another 4 of them in the assault phase. That's if they have Armor of Contempt in cover for the shooting attacks. If we're going after some regular Marines with Armor of Contempt in cover, yeah, you're still killing the entire unit. You're destroying 10 or more, and so you don't even need to charge at that point. If you're taking a look at some Guard through your scopes there, your shooting alone will kill the entire unit and kill about 22 to 23 of them. If you do really want to charge them, you're looking at 26 in combat, which is a total of almost 50 guardsmen. So this unit can destroy a 20 blob of guardsmen in shooting, charge a different 20-man blob of guardsmen in combat, and wipe both of them. This will even destroy a unit of wardens with a character. It won't kill the character, but you can destroy an entire unit of wardens between this unit shooting and combat. 270 points, dude. 350 with the character. Your guns will destroy 3 to 6, and that depends on whether or not they do the 4-up Feel No Pain. If they do, you're only going to get 3, but then in the charge phase, they don't have it anymore, and you're looking at like another 3-ish there. They're only 5-man units max, and so, yeah. Dude, like, craziness is happening here. Now, if we did decide, hey, you know what, I want to put Hellfire rounds on these guys. I want all of their guns to wound your infantry unit on 2s. It ends up being about the same thing. If you're going after Terminators with Armor of Contempt, you get about 5 with your guns, because you're swapping the ignores cover and +1 AP to be able to wound on 2s, and so it just averages out to be about the same thing. If we're shooting like a Votan Terminator unit, you'll get about 6 of them on the shooting attacks. Not sure about combat, but you will get about 6 of them on shooting attacks. I didn't actually think about the combat when it came to this stratagem. If you're going after Wardens, you're looking at about 3 with your shooting attacks again, and some change, so it's about the same there as well. If you're shooting at Marines, you actually end up doing like a little bit more. You get about 11 of them, because your AP's good enough at that point where they only have a 3-up save, so you get about 11. Now, they're not good against absolutely everything. If we're going after Magnus, for example, because of his nonsense where he can blank damage, his -1 damage, all that shit that he has, you only do about 7 wounds to him in the shooting phase. If you want to throw a grenade at him, that'll do about another 3, and so you could get him down to about 6 wounds if you really needed to. And then the combat, you'll do maybe another 5, maybe 6, kind of just depends there. Depends on some enhancements and such. So you might be able to almost get Magnus if you throw a grenade at him and use some a strat to give them better AP. You might actually be able to take out Magnus with this unit as well. But you're not killing avatars. You're not killing like Catans probably. But just about like anything else in the game, this unit can just straight deal with it. Now, if we did want to give them lethal hits as our detachment rule, we're just going to do less damage, and so we're just not going to look at that. And so, yeah, that's our damage output. And hot damn, being able to destroy an entire 10-man Terminator unit with cover and Armor of Contempt for shooting and combat, like between its shooting and combat, that's hard to do. Very few units in the game, between their shooting and their combat, especially for this point cost, can do that in one round. And so what does this all mean? Well, it means we're fucking shit up, dog. There are certain targets that they just won't get through, like the Avatar, but like any non-absolute super unit just dies for 270 points. If we added that captain in, I really shouldn't be saying 270 points because we're going to add that captain in, and it's going to be 350 points. But like that's 36 wounds at toughness 6 with all that output. And in order to be efficient against this unit, you need damage 3. Like you need anti-tank. Damage 2, you lose a point of damage every time one spills over, because damage doesn't spill over. And so all those 2 damage weapons are just slightly less effective. Now, I should admit, when we did our damage there just a moment ago, the captain did have the Thief of Secrets enhancement, which takes the unit to 375 points. So now it is pushing it in terms of its cost. But what you get for that, like the captain, yeah, he becomes strength 11 on the charge at AP 3 and flat 3 damage. It just adds a lot of output, and if he destroys a model with that insane weapon, he gets an additional +1 to all that. And so, since we're on the topic, let's take a look at some of the other enhancements and the strats and all that kind of stuff that you want to use on this unit. So, first is the Thief of Secrets. +1 AP, +1 damage, +1 strength. So on the charge, he's strength 11, AP 3, flat 3 damage with 5 attacks. And if he kills a model, which he's going to do, then he gets boosted to strength 12, AP 4, and flat 4 damage with 5 attacks. With sustained hits, with full rerolls. Like, that is so good. But there's more. We have some other interesting enhancements. We have the Beacon and Jealous, which gives the unit deep strike and allows them to rapid ingress for free. So with a captain, you can now be doing 2 free strats. And like, let's just say it's turn 2 and your opponent went first. You rapid ingress the unit for free, and then you heroically intervene for free. Next turn, you use Kraken rounds for free, and then blast 10 Terminators off the table after you charge. And that's just one example. And really, those 2 enhancements are the ones that I find interesting on this unit. But you don't even need the captain half the time. If you're just talking about their shooting output, you probably take one for sure, but just as a standalone 270 point unit, like, my god, what a damage monster for that many points without any character support. Even if we took him out, they're still wiping 5 Terminators. That guy did like a wound to Terminators when I did the math. And so his combat is really where he shines there. But like, dude, their shooting does most of the damage anyway, and if you are really, really leaning into that and not really worried about their combat, the captain mainly just serves as some extra damage for combat, and then the free strats and stuff, and so you don't always need him in there. Now, other than the Hellfire, the Kraken rounds, and the Dragonfire rounds, we also have access to Armor of Contempt ourselves, and this can be huge against the right enemy, especially in combat. If you're staring down the barrel of a Scion unit then, like in shooting, okay, you're AP 3, but now you're actually AP 1 because I'm in cover and, Armor of Contempt. So let's just say you get a full spread of hits and wounds. And Scions, they actually changed recently to reroll all wounds if you're on an objective instead of hits. And so if you are running Bridgehead now, they're actually really good. I recently did a video about whether I would take them in the Combined Regiment or the Bridgehead just for sheer damage output. And I was still going to choose the Combined Regiment. Now that they've been changed to full rerolls to wound on their datasheet, you absolutely take them in the Bridgehead because they also gain the reroll ones to hit in Bridgehead as well. And so, really good there. If you're running Bridgehead, stupid good. +1 to wound when they deep strike, full rerolls to wound, rerolling ones to hit, and they gain sustained hits when they have the command squad attached. So let's just say you get 11 hits on me. Okay, I fail half, and we'll say I fail 6, so it's at the lower end of average. That's still only 3 dudes in the unit gone. If you've got some melt-a-shots and then some hot shots, at the end of the day, you're probably looking at half the unit being destroyed. And then if I'm looking to directly strike back with my unit of Indomitor kill team boys, you're probably keeping the 2 heavy bolters and you're probably keeping the aggressors at that point, and those just wipe the Scion unit in return between the shooting and the combat, absolutely 100% of the time. And so that's just a demonstration that they aren't actually, they're not very squishy. They don't have an invuln. They don't have 2-up saves, but they have 10 guys at toughness 6. And sometimes with Armor of Contempt, you have trouble getting through that. And then because they can hit you back with so much damage, even as a 5-man unit with the right weapons left in the unit, they're still going to just blow something up. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we have our adaptive tactics. And so we are always 100% of the time going to be getting our sustained hits if we need to have it. You just pick 2 units, and as long as they're kill teams, you just give them the tactics. So it's very versatile. It's very good. And finally, and probably one of the best strats on them, is site-to-site teleportation. This gives them deep strike and puts them into reserve. So you don't even need to take the enhancement to give them deep strike and rapid ingress them for free. You're probably going to do it, but you don't need to do it. You can deep strike them through the strat. And if you do have a captain, you can just rapid ingress them for free anyway on your opponent's turn, and then gain another free strat on your turn to make sure they get adaptive tactics or whatever it is that they may need. And this strat also allows the unit to take full advantage of its datasheet rule. I kind of glossed over it, but they only get that +2 strength for shooting the closest target. I know I'm read the words, but I didn't really go into much detail there. They do only get that when they're shooting the closest target. The combat thing is when they charge, so they're just always going to get that as long as they charge, but the shooting thing, you got to be the closest target. Well, it turns out that being able to deep strike them and rapid ingress actually makes that a whole lot easier. And in general, being able to take a slow unit like this and just blink it anywhere on the table that they are needed, really great. Like, really, really great. It's just going to decimate some area of the table, and if it's in a good spot, it should live, and then it'll just teleport to the next more important place and hopefully do it again next turn. And you've got like 3 units of these things. And if you're putting captains with them, it's literally like 1,000 points. It's 1,050 because they're 350 apiece. So 1,050 points. So I think this unit is just crazy powerful, and I think it's absolutely undercosted. I would not be surprised if they go up in points. In fact, I'd be surprised if they didn't go up in points. They just do way too much for their points costs. But I think that's going to cover the Indomitus kill team here, fellow theorists. So if I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. Deathwatch Thunderhammer that like and subscribe button. Assault Bolter Nurgle's Bell. Check out the other videos in the other channel. We got a lot of videos like this one, among other things like battle reports and why 10th edition is awful and things like that. So with that, my friends, I'm going to rapid ingress on out of here. So theory hard, and I'll see you back at the lab.